That's it.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Herman Raj podcast proudly presents to you the Ragsdale Rumble, where brother versus brother on college football picks weekly. I have with me your two competitors. First, from Birmingham, Alabama, he is the professor of the pick'em, Herb Ragsdale.
Not really a fair fight here, but Raj, prepare to destroyed. Thank you.
Oh, come on. Bring it on. Bring it on. Come on.
And his opponent, coming out of Arlington, Texas, he is the genius of the game day, Raj Ragsdale.
That's me. That's me. I am the genius of the game day. We all know who's going to win this matchup. Herb,
The word
I don't
Roger
even know why you're here.
should never be used in the same sentence.
I don't even know why you're here.
All right. So as the referee, I've got to step in already. We're already getting in here early.
Yeah.
This will be a round every week. The winner at the end of the season or at the end of the fight, whether it be by decision or by KO, we will have a prize coming soon that will be announced
Preferably
later
KO.
on. I am your referee, as mentioned, Big Mike. Just here to kind of play, make sure they don't kill each other. No hits below the belt, anything like that.
I promise nothing.
Hey, we'll see.
Look, hey, I've seen brothers fight. I don't have a brother personally, so I don't know exactly how it goes, but I've seen it plenty of times. I know it can get kind of rough, but here we go.
All
So
right.
here's the premise. We're going to have anywhere from 7 to 10 games. A few weeks when there's a lighter slate, we will have a bonus question as we do this week to kind of break some ties. I will give the lines out, although these are a straight pick 'em. They do not go by the lines. So I've tried to pick ones that are close together and some other notable games throughout the season and throughout the weeks. Any questions?
No. I think we're
You
ready to
understand
rumble.
the rules? All right, touch gloves. Kind of. All right. Week 1, starting on Thursday night, you've got Florida and Utah. Utah is currently favored by 6.5 points. Raj, you will go first. Who do you think will win the game?
This is a good one to start off with, Mike. I picked Florida to win. I think I picked him last week when Herb and I were briefly discussing this. We may have mentioned it earlier today, but I'm going to go ahead and pick Florida to win. I don't know if Cam Rising is playing or not. If it came out that he is playing, I was unaware of that. I think even if he does play, I think he's still going to be a little roughed up, a little slightly injured to that effect. With that being said, I think Florida won last year. Really, really close game. I think Florida's going to do back-to-back. I think Florida's going to beat Utah again.
It's not at Florida. There's no Anthony Richardson. And you're just giving me 1 point to start here. Utah takes this one with or without. I probably could go start in this game. Utah loses road games and win home games. They're beating Florida in this game.
They're not going to win.
All right.
You don't even believe that.
I'm picking the SEC.
That's fine.
Well, starting off strong with a good clash. Now, don't forget, you guys can pick the same team if you want. You don't have to go against each other in every match just because I want your true opinions. So, obviously, sometimes there are rounds where you'll agree. With that being said, next up we have Nebraska at Minnesota. Minnesota is currently favored by 2.
Ooh.
Herb, you get the first draw this time.
This is one of those very classic flip a coin for sure. I'm gonna go with Nebraska in a little bit of a resurgence this year. My faith in this pick, if you're doing those little confidence 1 to 10, is like a 2. But that's my pick. I feel like this is the start of a comeback year for him.
I really hate to do this, Mike and her, but I actually am going to pick Nebraska as well. I don't think it looks good that we both agree, but it is what it is. I kind of have the same sentiment that Herb has. I think this is going to be one of these years. I'm not saying Nebraska is going to make it to a really, really nice bowl game, but they're going to have a decent season, probably a little better than they did last year. And I think they're going to start off beating Minnesota this year.
So I'm up 1-0 still.
And I am writing things down to keep store. I know I see her writing down as well, just to make sure I'm honest. Being the president of the RFC.
Thank you, Mike, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I feel like Roger's going to grab some extra points just because.
Yes.
And I didn't send these games to anybody previously, maybe.
Yeah, okay.
So these are all surprises. And as you could tell, the slate of the first week is not great. So there's going to be a few of these same kind of games. Different flavor, different things to look at. Kind of the same thing with the next one. It's really a close line, so I tried to pick close games to make it competitive. The University of California, Cal, and North Texas. Cal is favored by 6.5, which is one of the reasons it was picked, just because it seems like a closer game.
Where's the game being played at?
At North Texas.
At North Texas.
That's weird.
Yep.
Cal was just terrible offensively last year.
Sir, I hate to step in as the ref, but it is Roger's turn to go first. So I'm going to need you to hold your opinion until after the fact. I know as the referee, I've got to hurt some toes sometimes, but we got to keep it fair.
I shall pout.
Without diving too much into this game, I'm going to pick Cal to win this game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I do think you said the line was Cal by 6 or 6.5.
6.5. I
think Cal will cover in this game and win. Again, I'm not going to go into too much into details. That Cal wasn't great last year. I just don't see. So
the question is, are you not going into details because you don't want to tip your hand, or because you just don't know?
Because I just don't know. Just be honest with you. Just on this one. On this one right here, I know it's Cal.
This is what week 1 does.
Yeah, this is it. Week 1. I'm not too familiar with Cal this year or UNT, even though I live about an hour from UNT. But I am going to pick Cal in this game.
See, and that's one of the reasons again I picked it. I know you're down in that area, so it's a kind of home game for you. You're allowed to talk now. I'm sorry.
I'm definitely going with Cal in this one. Okay. I think it feels like it's going to be one of those low-scoring, grinded-out kind of games. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't cover, but I think Cal squeaks one out. I mean, they're last year in whatever the Pac-12 is. Plus, they got to put on a good show for whoever they're trying to get recruited into.
Aren't they going to the ACC, or we don't know yet, huh?
Is that just a possibility? Not as of time as this. Maybe by the time this airs, we might know.
That's going to be such a weird game. Can you imagine going to Cal and then saying, yeah, we're going to the Duke game is Saturday?
Yes.
Who's going to travel like that? Anyway.
That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
All right, next game, a little bit more of a name matchup. You have West Virginia at Penn State. Penn State is currently favored by 20.5. It is a higher line game, but it is more of a name value, so we're going to go there. And Herb, it is your turn to go first.
Definitely going with Penn State to win and even cover. I think Penn State is, if you want to have any chance, first off, you obviously got to beat Ohio State and Michigan. But you have to win games like this convincingly. You've got to give starters a rest in the fourth quarter. Your focus has to be, if not the playoffs now, win. So I think games like this, you got to come out and focus and win. And I think this game's over by halftime.
I'm gonna pick Penn State to cover too. I don't know how well Drew. What's his name? Drew Aller. I forgot. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Penn State's quarterback. Right. I don't know how good he's.
Drew Holiday.
I don't know how good he's going to be this year, but I think he's going to have a pretty good game this weekend. So I'm going to pick Penn State in this one. It's going to be a close game. Going to be a pretty somewhat of an even matchup, but I'll go with Penn State.
Okay, both agree there. All right, the next game is going to be the Monday night college football playoff, I guess, however you want to put it on Monday nights. Clemson at Duke. They're playing at Duke, and Clemson is favored by 13. And Raj, I believe it is your turn to go first.
Sure, Raj, go first.
I always go first. Yeah, I mean this is the RFC here. Sorry. Anyway, I got Kent State. I got Clemson covering in this game. I think Cade Klubnik is going to have a pretty good game. I'm not going to speak too highly on him because I don't think he's ever nowhere near Trevor Lawrence or anything like that. He's better than DJU in my opinion. But I do think he's going to have a pretty good game, and I don't see Duke being that strong this year in the ACC as well. So I am going to pick Clemson to cover.
Yes. All right. And I agree with that one. I think Clemson wins and covers. I think the disrespect card is real for Clemson. You know, after waiting last year and then everyone's still talking about Florida State, I feel like they come out to make a statement. And I think Clemson wins this one handily.
I feel like Clemson, ever since Trevor Lawrence left, Clemson just kind of been in this college football purgatory, trying to can we get back to the playoff? Can we there?
Hasn't that only been 1 year?
I know, but 1 or 2 years actually. But they're just kind of hanging around there. But I don't think they'll make the playoff this year, to be honest with you. But
right,
for the sake of the argument.
As all of us are Bama fans, we know 1 year out of the playoffs does feel like purgatory.
It feels like forever.
I can feel where it's coming from.
Yeah.
All right, a couple more competitive games now. The first one, both SEC matchups. First one we're looking at is North Carolina versus South Carolina in Charlotte, kind of a neutral territory.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Currently, North Carolina is favored by 2.5. Herb, you're first up on this one.
Definitely taking South Carolina. I actually talked to an ACC guy earlier, and he talks about the lack of defense for North Carolina. I think it'll be similar to like the South Carolina-Tennessee game, except if I think one team's going to get at least one stop, it'll be South Carolina. So in a high-scoring matchup, I'm going to take South Carolina to squeak by.
I'm taking South Carolina too.
Spencer Rattler throws for 500 yards.
I think North Carolina's defense isn't that great, so I was going to say Spencer Rattler is going to have a good game. 500 yards, no, but since this is
490
opening weekend, I'm going to say 412 yards passing.
Okay, I'm going to say 412 and a half.
412 yards. And on the other hand, is this going to be the start of Drake May's Heisman campaign? We know he's going to the draft obviously after this year, but I don't know. We'll see what he can do this year. I think he had a few really, really good games last year, but then there were some that were somewhat questionable. But yeah, I think we're both picking South Carolina.
I think we all could agree that if the rumors would have came true that he'd have came to Alabama, it definitely would have been the start of his Heisman campaign.
Oh yeah,
he wanted to stay in North Carolina. Whatever.
Have fun.
Yeah. Next matchup, again, another close one. I believe this one is on Sunday night, if I'm not mistaken. LSU versus Florida State in Orlando. Again, kind of a neutral site game, but kind of not being in Orlando. Florida State's definitely going to have the home field advantage in that respect. Currently, LSU is favored by 2.5. And I believe, Rod, you're first on this one.
Mike, you believe right. I am first. I'm going with Florida State, win 2 in a row. I think Jordan Travis is going to have a phenomenal year this year. And just to throw this in there, I do want LSU to lose for what they did to us last year.
We don't have to talk about that.
Which I don't even know why I'm bringing that up. I wouldn't mind seeing LSU lose this game, but I think Florida State, Mike Norvell is going to have a pretty good, successful season this year.
Yeah,
they're going to start off 1-0. You just don't want to agree with me. That's all.
I don't want to agree with you, but I mean, our second T-shirt is "Friends don't let friends pick LSU" either. So I think if Florida State wants to get these national title hopes off the ground, they have to win this game. And I think LSU is probably a little more focused on the SEC West and Bama versus this game. So I'm going to say, along with the home field advantage that you guys kind of pseudo mentioned in there, I'm going to go with Florida State. But I will be very happy to be watching this game.
Yes, yes.
All right, another agree. We've got one more game, and this is just kind of my personal pick. You guys both know I have been very high on Coach Prime over in Colorado.
Oh, yes,
so the last game we're going to pick, a single game we're going to pick, Colorado at TCU. TCU is currently favored by 20.5. Herb, your turn to go first. Who do you think?
I'm going with TCU, and maybe even close to that number. Prime, I mean, your first game with Overset, I could see them keeping it close for the first half just on emotion, but there was a bad roster that he overhauled and had to bring in all these new people. And whatever TCU has left, I think all the old Bama boys will do well over there. TCU wins this game.
Yeah, I got TCU winning this game. I think the hype surrounding Prime and Colorado is going to be what carries them throughout the season. And the fact they only won one game last year means they'll probably win 3 or 4 games this year.
Right.
Lucky to win 4 games, and I took a deeper look at their schedule earlier today. So this isn't gonna. They're not gonna beat TCU. Let's just get that out of the way. And it's gonna take Deion and some time to kind of get that program together. Again, with what Herb mentioned, as far as the overhaul of the roster, getting everybody acclimated to the program, acclimated to the coaching, acclimated to Deion himself. And we'll probably see some more transfers or whatever the case may be after this season. But they're not gonna beat TCU. Obviously, we know what happened to TCU. They had a pretty good season, won their college football playoff game. Then they played in a game after that. They showed up to a game after that.
Did they play in the game after that?
Yeah, they didn't really play.
I just remember the Michigan game, and then that was the end of the season.
Yeah. So. Let's cut it there. Yeah, they beat Michigan to end their season. Max Duggan, I forgot where he got drafted. He's gone. They got a new quarterback, but I just don't see Colorado winning this game at all. And again, I think the hype around Colorado is going to be huge throughout the season, and people are going to want them, including myself. I want them to win some games, but this is not going to be one of them.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and so that's the last single game of the week. But as expected, you guys have agreed on every game but one. So just to make it interesting, I've got a bonus question. And this isn't a single game. And I know normally the rules are we stay away from Alabama, being all Alabama fans, but they are included in this last question. So the bonus question this week, which of the top 4 teams, and I'm going to give you their matchups and their lines, blows out their opponent by the most points? So which team wins by the most points? You have Georgia versus UT Martin, who is favored by 44.5. and I had to search 5 different places to find that line because nobody else had it. You have Ohio State and Indiana. Ohio State is favored by 30.5. You have Michigan versus ECU. Michigan is favored by 36. And Bama and Middle Tennessee, Bama is favored by 39. So as same progression, Herb, I'm sorry, you get the first pick. Which team do you think will blow out their opponent by the most points?
I mean, I think it's Georgia. Yep. Just because, I mean, that seems like the kind of team that you're playing in the third, fourth quarter. Your third string is still scoring touchdowns. You know, everybody else you'd said is at least, a Power 5 or Group of 5 team, right? UT Martin. Yeesh. I mean, that's probably the best way to go get Brock Bowers 200 yards, you know? Yeah. So I got to go with Georgia to get them. I mean, none of the games obviously are going to be close, hopefully, at least in one case. But I think Georgia runs away with that one.
Yeah, sure. I agree. I think with Alabama Middle
again, got to step in as a ref. Yeah. And our friend Lee Corso, he's not dead. I'm not sure why I did that, but on game not so fast, my friend. In the bonus question, you cannot pick the same team. So you have to go with a different team. This is where you go in first at the beginning, kind of come back to bite you. So Herb can't say I'm playing favorites. So
I can always say you're playing favorites.
So you have to pick one of the remaining 3, either Ohio State and Indiana, Michigan and ECU, or Bama and Middle Tennessee.
I think it's going to be Bama, Middle Tennessee. I think the Ohio State, Indiana games are going to be not close, but they're going to be. I think Ohio State may not cover in their game, and then Michigan. You said Michigan and East Carolina.
Yes, East Carolina.
Shout out to East Carolina. One of our good friends, Michael Edwards, his son actually plays for East Carolina. So, Michael Edwards Jr. I think he's a middle linebacker. Anyway, with that said, I think those games are going to be a little closer. So I'm just going to go with Alabama and Middle Tennessee. I initially picked Georgia, but obviously I can't pick the same one. But I feel like Alabama, it's going to be a mixture of us trying to determine our quarterback place, working on a few maybe turnovers here and there, and then we're going to probably run and pound the ball a lot, which is why I don't think we're going to put up like 70 points or anything of that nature. But Alabama's going to dominate the game. I think we all know that. It's not going to be close, but we're still getting our feet wet in a lot of areas on the field, and this is going to be like our final tune-up before hosting Texas next week.
And to Raj's point, I hate to agree with him on something, but I think that's one of those games where even in the third quarter, your backup quarterback's in, but they're still playing a lot of regular offense versus just trying to run to one. So definitely can see that one, right?
And that's why I think it is Bama, because I don't think, I think most of the other schools are going to lay off a little bit after they get so far ahead, where I think Saban and Bama are still trying to get their offense. So I personally think it's Bama, even above Georgia. Just because I don't think they're going to take their foot off the gas, and I think Georgia will after a while. Yeah. So again, that's week 1. We've got about 8 or 9 games. We will come back next week and recap and come back with week 2 or round 2 in the Ragsdale Rumble. Again, prizes and punishments will be announced later on in the season to find out who wins. Keep tuning in every week. I am, for Herb and Raj, I am your host, Big Mike. Thank you very much. Have a great week.
Appreciate it.
All right, everybody.